Attention. Why the hell you hoes ain't tell me that LaToya Jackson wasn't in the 2300 Jackson Street song or music video? According to the newspapers, Michael was so against my writing a book that he investigated the possibility of buying a controlling interest in my original publisher. He was also reputed to have offered me millions to scuttle the project. But at the same time, my brother and I were allegedly in the thick of a sibling feud. So claimed Newsweek. We spoke on the phone constantly. Rarely did he raise the subject of the book, and when he did so, only indirectly, as is his way. By the way, LaToya, I hear you're writing a book. Right, I thought, as if you didn't know. I'd already received a flurry of sharply worded letters from his lawyer, filled with groundless threats against a book that didn't yet exist. The most Michael ever said to me was, "You know I said all good things about you in my book." Another time he inquired slyly, "LaToya, do you know what's going to be in your book?" Not once did he say he was angry or upset that I was writing my autobiography, just as he'd written his. More important, he never asked me not to. Over the next several months, conversations between me and my family dwindled, and speaking to either Mother or Jermaine only made me wish I'd never dialed their numbers. Distraught over my family situation, I was surprised and delighted when Jackie called to ask me to sing on 2300 Jackson Street. The album he, Tito, Jermaine, and Randy were recording at Havenhurst and in Tito's home studio. I thought the plans were definite, but strangely, nothing ever came of them. Jackie and Jermaine kept insisting I fly home to add my vocals to the title track. I explained that I was doing 2 days of television work before departing for Europe on business. So we then agreed that Jermaine would record me in a Manhattan studio the next time he was in town. Well, I don't know, LaToya. This is my thing, okay? 2300 Jackson Street. I would kind of have to make some rearrangements because 2300 Jackson Street was a big deal. I don't really understand why the album didn't do well. So what she said in this book, I don't really understand why. Yeah, I understand why, because I only bought the song. I didn't buy the album. Okay. All right, bitch. When he did come to New York, however, he never called. I discovered my brother was in the city only through a friend. I phoned the hotel he usually stays in, but was informed he checked out. I couldn't reach Jermaine. He never called me, and I never heard from him about it again. You know what? Let me look at this video right quick and see if LaToya is in the damn video. Hold on. Okay, so we got Reby that's leaning over Janet to touch the baby in Catherine's lap. Next to Catherine is Joe. Okay, Joe got a baby in his lap. Next to Joe is Michael. He got a baby in his lap. Above Michael is Jermaine. Next to Jermaine, I think that's Jackie. Next to Jackie is Randy. Next to Randy is Tito. Where's Marlon? While in Los Angeles, Jack met with my father's former aide, Robert, the witness to Joseph's attack on him. Robert had recently left Joseph's employ and now recast himself as our ally. I never really liked him before and did not particularly trust him, but he claimed to have some information he was sure Jack would find intriguing. He said that one reason for my brother's insistence I return home to sing on 2300 Jackson Street was that they planned to forcibly keep me there. He mentioned Tim by name and said of my ex-security guard, watch out for him. He's part of this. He'll have a van. Be very careful around him. I knew mother wanted me home desperately, but to go that far, it was simply, literally unbelievable. And in view of the source, I felt it best to put it out my mind. Child, so hold on. Like I said, some things I think she just take them over the top. But hey, if I had a family member and I thought she was out there lunching, I might have to intervene. Now, I don't know if I'm going through all the feats of kidnapping a grown woman, but if I think that there is a situation where she's out there and she's not in her right mind, I may do some things to kind of get in the way. Especially if I know my sister or my brother is not in his right mind. Even in a situation where, y'all tell me, if you had a brother or sister or some other family member that you really loved or a BFF, and you saw them out there on drugs doing their thing and you love them, they ain't associate, you love them, I'm sure all of us would intervene, some way. Now, kidnapping a person, I don't know, because you can't make an adult do anything. But if there's some issues there mentally, you can, do a 5150 on their ass. So, okay. Like I said, the family trying to intervene. They know Jack Gordon got the bullshit with him, okay? And I applaud Joe. If it's true that Jack Gordon had mafia or goon ties or gangster ties, I applaud Joseph for still beating his ass. One thing Joseph ain't is a punk. Thinking about it now, there was no reason to think Nevada would be a haven from harassment and possible abduction. My parents had recently purchased a second home there for the specific purpose of fleeing the Great California earthquake. Mother believed that the whole family would be able to seek refuge there and live together once again. How we would be alerted to the impending disaster and evacuation in time is beyond me. It was quickly clear that trouble had followed us. Because of Jack's 1979 conviction, he must register with the Nevada police within 48 hours of entering the state. On the second day, he went to register, but the officer present told him not to bother, that he could come back the next day. How bizarre. An officer of the law encouraging Jack to break the law? As my manager turned to go, another cop said, "Be careful." Of what? We were to find out. Right before our arrival, the police had been tipped off that 3 men were in Reno to kill Jack Gordon. According to our sources, which I can't reveal for fear of reprisal, against them, the cops warned the trio they would be closely monitored. Defeated, the men left town. The reason the Nevada police wouldn't register Jack was that in the event something happened to him, they wouldn't be responsible. They wanted to be able to claim that they didn't know he was in the state. Child, please. That makes no fucking sense to me. All you got to do is write it down. If that police right there was like, no, we don't want to say, okay, but let me talk to your supervisor. Where the hell is the white shirt at? Okay, that just makes no sense to me. The same day, Jack had heard from our friend Tom Cantone of Trump's organization. I just got the strangest call from Mrs. Jackson, he said. She was very upset and pleaded with me to tell her where her daughter was. When I said I didn't know, and suggested she try to call Latoya herself, she said, "Oh, I never thought of that. Isn't that odd? Latoya, listen to me. We have to. This is the only way I can protect you. If we're just manager and client, your family can do whatever they want to you. If you're my wife, they can't because I'm then your legal guardian." What? You've got to do this for yourself and for me. If you don't, you're going to end up kidnapped. And I'm going to get killed. That makes no sense. The last few days, events had really taken their toll on both of us. I buried my face in my hands and cried, no way, Jack. I can't do this. You know what marriage means to me. I've never been in love. I don't even date. And you're asking me to marry you for reasons that have nothing to do with being in love? It's not right. I don't love you. You're just my pimp. She be cross country giving all that she got. Latoya, you're not doing it for those reasons. If you want a life and a career, you have to do this. Being man and wife in the legal sense only wouldn't protect us fully from my parents, but if it at least served as a deterrent, then it was worth doing. Drying my eyes, I got out of the car, still moaning. I can't do this. I'm sorry, I just can't. Even though I knew I had no choice. You ain't got no friends, Latoya. You ain't got no duties to be like, girl, don't do it, girl. I know poor Jack was hurt because I refused to even kiss him, but I was frightened and angry. I couldn't help snapping. I just want you to know one thing. We are not married. Sometimes I don't even like you, but now I'm married to you in name only. One other thing. I want the original copy of the marriage certificate. How ironic that my mother and father's detesting Jack had resulted in his becoming their son-in-law. The next morning, and no, there has not been a honeymoon. Oh, okay, now I see why Josh was down in the comments talking about they didn't even consummate the marriage. The next morning, and no, there has not been a honeymoon, Jack was on the phone with a Mr. Edwards who was claiming to be my parents' attorney. He requested that the two of them meet privately later that day. Jack's lawyer, Oscar Goodman, suggested instead the three of them meet in his Las Vegas office. Edwards' insistence that Jack meet him alone smacked of another underhanded plot. Was there no end to this? This has got to stop, I told Jack. I'm calling Mother. The first few minutes of our conversation were just chat. When I couldn't stand it anymore, I said, Mother, I want you to know right now that I know what you're doing. I know that you and Joseph threatened to have Jack. Why? Because Jack told you that? Is that the reason why you know it's true? Because Jack told you that it was true? I also know that you tried to kidnap me twice. Now you should know that if anything happened to Jack, I'll go straight to the police and tell them that you did it. Do you understand me? So you'd better pray that he doesn't get hit by a car tomorrow. Oh, Lord. Lord, can you picture poor little sweet innocent Latoya that don't consummate her marriage saying stuff like that to Catherine? Girl, that's funny to me. That MK Ultra, man. Another thing, don't ever forget, Mother. I know you better than anyone else in the world. I was your best friend. You can fool Joseph. You can fool Mike. You can fool everybody in the house, but you can't fool me. I know all about you. You throw the rocks and hide your hands. Remember I said that saying before, y'all? People like that. Oh, I hate the motherfuckers. Mother was screaming hysterically. Don't you talk to me this way. I'm your mother. What gives you the right to talk to me like that? I waited for her to deny my accusations, but she never did. After finishing the conversation with Mother Catherine, within a few minutes, Marlon called. He'd been visiting Havenhurst when I called, so I knew Mother put him up to it. My brother offered his congratulations on my marriage, then abruptly asked that I relinquish my deeds for the share of Havenhurst I owned. I refused. Jack asked Mother to tell my parents and all the guys to phone Oscar Goodman's office later that day for a mass conference. I really believe that if we all talk, we can resolve these problems, he said. Yeah, that's a good idea. Marlon agreed, promising to spread the word.
No, how you